Thank you so much for joining and welcome to UCD School of Medicine Clinical Research webinar, which is part of UCD's Masters Week. This session is tailored to give you insight into the clinical research graduate taught course offerings in UCD School of Medicine. In partnership with our clinicians, the UCD Clinical Research Centre and leading industry research organisations, the school offers a portfolio of programmes for medicine, health science and science graduates looking to advance careers in academic or industry-led research. And we have a fantastic lineup of speakers here today, eager to present to you, including Dr. Deborah Wallace, Assistant Professor in Clinical Research, Academic Director for Graduate Programme in Clinical and Translational Research based in UCD Clinical Research Centre. Dr. Linda O'Neill as well is joining us today, Assistant Professor in Clinical Trials based also in the Clinical Research Centre. Dr. Marie Gallagher, Clinical Research Tutor, and Denise Gosling as well, so the Clinical Research Centre Administrative Officer. And they'll be talking to you about the UCD Masters in Clinical and Translational Research and our online graduate certificate in clinical trials as well. So welcome to everyone. And without further ado, I will hand over to our speakers.
Great. Thank you very much, Isabel, for the introduction. So I'm delighted to be here today along with my colleagues Marie, Linda and Denise to tell you a little bit about the programme that we run here at the Clinical Research Centre, both the Masters in Clinical and Translational Research and also the online graduate certificate in clinical trials. So to do this, I'd actually just like to share some slides with you and I hope they're coming through. Just to give you a little bit of background and I suppose a little bit more information on the courses than you might actually see on the website, for example. So the UCD Clinical Research Centre, we're an internationally recognised centre of clinical and translational excellence. So, and this is obviously evidenced through our activity, but also through our publications in the area of clinical trials, for example. But obviously we're embedded within the university, within the School of Medicine, so we're also all about education. So not only do we carry out research here, but we're also heavily invested in actually developing the next generation of what we might term clinician scientists, but really anybody who has an interest in performing both translational and clinical research as part of their career. Now, if you click on the, well, actually, if you can't click on this, but if you go to this website link, you'll be able to get lots more information about the centre itself. We're embedded within the School of Medicine here at University College Dublin, and our two primary locations really are at St. Vincent's University Hospital and also the Mater Hospital. So two very large teaching hospitals set in Dublin here, the capital of Ireland. But we also have research activity in many different hospitals all over the country. And this is really essential to the delivery of kind of high quality research. And why we're interested in this, of course, that really to kind of effectively teach about research, we as investigators, we as academics have to be conducting our own research. And really the two are very much linked. Again, if you go onto our website, you'll get lots more detail about the activities, both in the Clinical Research Centre. And recently this year, we also opened up the UCD Clinical Trials Unit, which sits alongside or within the Clinical Research Centre. So these really, not only do they allow clinicians, investigators in the School of Medicine to perform research, but they also feed directly into our education programmes, which I'm going to speak to you about today. We have lots of different expertise within the centres here. We carry out lots of different types of research, as you can see here, lots of different clinical trials, translational research. Again, going back to the point that we are a university, so not only do we carry out clinical trials, but we have master's students, we have MD students, we have PhD students who are actively engaging in both research as part of their education. So the UCD Clinical Research Centre Graduate Thought Programme is made up of myself, Debbie Wallace. We also then have Professor Peter Doran, who's the Director of the UCD Clinical Research Centre, Marie Gallagher, who you can see on the call here, Linda O'Neill, and also Denise Gosling. But I suppose apart from the core staff here, we also really have input from everybody working in the centre here who are experts in their own discipline. And again, they will, feed into the graduate thought programs, delivering lectures on their specific topics, which forms part of their daily activity within the Clinical Research Centre. So the course features, so we offer kind of a number of courses here, but I suppose today we're going to focus on the master's, which is offered in terms of both a part-time and a full-time. The first thing to say is that this master's program is fully in class. There is no online aspect to it. The online graduate certificate program is fully online. So I suppose that's the first difference between the two of them. But regardless of which one, that you might be interested in undertaking, it's important to know that they're really designed to educate investigators and research professionals who will really be able to, in the future, perform cutting-edge clinical research through excellence. And the way we do this is that regardless of whether it's the online graduate certificate or the master's program, we've developed a comprehensive program of hands-on practical experience complementing what you actually learn in class. And this is reflected in how we approach the assessments and the assignments for these courses. We're not just testing your knowledge so that you get a grade to pass your exam. We're actually helping you develop kind of research relevant skills which will stand to you for the rest of your research career. We really want to equip you with the knowledge and skills and competencies that will allow you to be an effective, highly skilled investigator in the future. As we've mentioned, our students are taught primarily on UCD campus, but also within the UCD Clinical Research Centre. So again, we're trying to kind of, I suppose, give you as many relevant skills as possible. Another way that we do that is that we have inputs from both industry partners, opportunity for industry interaction, and also from, interaction with investigators within the UCD Clinical Research Centre. So in combination of our thought, our lectures, our assignments, our interactions, what we're really trying to do is to position you as a graduate with the opportunities and with the skill set to progress in a research career. So the master's program itself, as I mentioned, it's available both on a full-time, which is a 12 months, so you start in September and you finish the next September, and a part-time, which runs over 2 years. So the part-time, for instance, you would start in September and run through May, and September through May the following year. What I would make just you aware of at this point in time is that dependent if you're requiring a visa to travel, then this could actually influence which course you're eligible to apply for. As I've mentioned already, regardless of which program, we provide a hands-on practical experience. So for example, in one of my modules, you get to come into the lab, you get to do some experiments. I know maybe Marie, I might switch to you to talk a little bit about your biostats module at this stage.
Yeah, hello everyone. So I'm a statistician working at the Clinical Research Centre. I work on a lot of our sponsored trials, and I teach the biostatistics and data management module, which is both on the master's program and on the online grad cert. So in this module, we cover kind of fundamental statistical principles, and you also get some hands-on practical experience of analysing data. So we have some kind of practical lab sessions where we, practice analysing a real data set.
Great, thanks, Maria. Maybe Linda, I might switch to you.
Great. Hi, so I'm Assistant Professor Linda O'Neill, and I coordinate the clinical trials module on the master's program in semester 1, and the clinical trial management module in semester 2. In the clinical trials module, you will receive, I suppose, a very good overview of all the principles of clinical trials and to learn about all the different trial types that we see now. And whereas in the second semester in clinical trial management, you'll learn from our academic and industry partners about, I suppose, the day-to-day management of trials. And following that module, you should be, well equipped to, step into a project management role in clinical trials.
Great. Thanks, Linda. So just to, I suppose, give you a little bit further information on the master's program. To complete the master's program, you need to earn or attain what we call 90 credits, and this is the system that we use here in UCD. To do this, you complete a series of modules, some of which we've described here, laboratory medicine, clinical trials, and so forth. And then you'll also complete a research project stroke thesis at the end of it. So you'll get a very good overall knowledge of pretty much every single aspect of clinical trials, clinical trial management, study design, protocol development. But also importantly, as I mentioned, you'll also get to develop kind of the hands-on skills, those skills that, you will need and that employers look for in the research industry. So just to explain to you a little bit, I suppose, about how the courses are organized. As I mentioned, you complete 90 credits. All of the modules except the research project are worth 10 credits. So for instance, if you were commencing the full-time masters X789 here, in the first trimester, which will run from September to December, you complete 3 modules. You'll also do the same in the spring trimester, you'll complete 3, and then over the summer, you complete your 30 credit project. So that is really kind of the outline for the full-time master. So it is full-time. You'll be attending class, you'll be embedded within your research project, really full-time from September to September. The part-time is organized slightly differently. In this case, you'll do 2 modules in the autumn trimester, 2 in the spring in year 1, then it'll change slightly for year 2. So it's just a slightly different organization of the modules. So I suppose maybe just to give you a little bit of information about the research project, and this is actually something that we've recently changed. The research project will now give you the opportunity to become embedded within a research group and actually kind of, I suppose, develop something that's going to be useful to you as an investigator, because you'll now actually have the opportunity to, I suppose, really kind of actively form part of a research group with the idea that you'll bring together everything that you'll have learned, every skill that you will have developed over the duration of your master's, and actually have an academic output at the end of it. And there's many benefits to this approach. In fact, that it'll further develop your skills, it'll help you kind of build your portfolio, because again, you'll have something tangible to actually show at the end of your project. And it will also offer you kind of networking opportunities, because again, you'll form connections, you'll communicate with different research groups here within the School of Medicine. So it gives you really opportunity to kind of help develop your research career. So that was an overview on the master's offering that we run here. The second one is the online graduate certificate in clinical trials. As the name suggests, it is fully online, examinations are online, everything is online. So you can do this again from anywhere in the world. You don't have to be located within Ireland. The program itself is really, I suppose, gauged towards preparing somebody for a career in clinical research. It runs over 8 months, and it really focuses on, I suppose, giving you the fundamental grounding in clinical trials, data management, biostatistics, and clinical trial management. So again, quite similar to the modules that form part of the master's program, but in this instance, for the graduate certificate, you are completing 3 modules. So you participate in 8 months of study. So from September to May, you have to earn 30 credits. You complete 3 different modules. And the modules are listed here below. So clinical trials, data management and biostatistics, and clinical trial management. So you can see it forms it, I suppose it focuses very much on kind of, you know, how we do clinical trials, why we do clinical trials, how we design them, how we analyze them. Whereas the master's, I suppose, gives you obviously a much broader skill set in terms of looking at, you know, sample collection, maybe the principles of research. So and you get to obviously complete the research project as part of the master's as well. So the online graduate certificate is organised as follows. So in the autumn term of the autumn trimester, which runs from spring until December, you'll complete 2 modules. And in the spring term, you'll complete 1 module. And again, each of these modules worth 10 credits. So I suppose a question we're often asked is kind of where do people end up working after they complete the courses? And I suppose it's as varied as the type of students that are enrolled into the courses. So typically our students might be from a science background, a clinical background, a nursing background, a pharmacist. And they'll often end up working within academia itself. So for instance, we actually have quite a few past students working here in the Clinical Research Centre. We've had a lot of students go on to careers in the pharmaceutical industry. And I suppose really we have students as well that will come in to the course immediately after they've completed their undergraduate degrees. And then we can have students who are actually just, you know, in the clinical research sector, but wishing to upskill, or maybe they're using it to progress in the career they have already. So as I said, really, I suppose the options at the end of completing the courses really are as varied as the type of student that enrolls into the courses. So there's really a lot of opportunities available. And I suppose just to finish by showing you kind of, I suppose, the numbers of students and kind of the types of students we've had over the last couple of years. So you can see that the online graduate certificate, which is online, is quite a popular choice. Not only, you know, if you're a little bit unsure about whether, you know, a career in clinical research is for you, it's a really good, you know, part-time 8 months introduction to clinical research that will give you the skill set that you need to either get into the industry or maybe to progress in your career. And then the master's program, as we said, it's offered in full-time and part-time, but to be honest, for the last number of years, we've seen mainly really full-time applications coming into us. Because again, you know, it is quite attractive to maybe complete the qualification within 1 academic year rather than extending it over 2 years. So they're the options available from the Clinical Research Centre at the moment. As Isabel mentioned at the start, if you have any course questions, you can, of course, contact us on crc@ucd.ie, or else there's lots of information both about the Clinical Research Centre itself and the programmes on the website. And, you know, even if you do a quick Google search for UCD CRC, you'll be able to get everything that you should need or that I've mentioned here. So on this, then I might ask if Denise has any words of wisdom for applicants.
If when applying for a place on the course, if you have any questions at all, please do email me at crc@ucd.ie. When you're uploading, English language proficiency is obviously needed, so please make sure you upload your certificate, your transcript, and we can go from there. Really, they're the 2 main important things. And again, any questions at all, let me know and I will get back to you. I suppose I'm trying to think. Timetable wise, we'll get that to you, but really we run the full-time masters over the 12 weeks for each term. So you could be talking about a spread out of approximately 9 to 10 lectures per week, spread out throughout the week. As Debbie mentioned, most of it is on campus. So it would be beneficial for anyone doing the full-time masters to be able to be on campus at all times.
Yeah.
And I think that's about it.
Yeah, I suppose maybe the other thing to say about applications is that we can't review your application until, you know, every document that's required is uploaded. I know sometimes previously we might have had, you know, for people will upload maybe a blank page for a document and kind of go, you know, oh, I'll email it when I have it. And again, we can't review until we have all of your documents. So again, if you are sending an application in, just the quicker you do that, the easier it is for us to review an application.
Actually, one more thing, and sorry if it was already mentioned, a query I get a lot is if there is a transfer window into the grad cert, into the masters, and there is. So for anyone who's unsure if they can give the time commitment for the masters, if they want to complete the online grad cert, that is 3 modules that is embedded into the masters. So there is a window there for you to transfer when you complete the grad cert into the master's program, and you will have had 3 out of the 7 modules completed.
As Denise has said a few times, if you do think of anything after this, just please drop us an email at crc@ucd.ie, and you'll get the modules that we mentioned today as well. You'll get specific information on those modules on the website as well, because you can go in and have a look at, you know, kind of what exactly you learn in each of the modules, how you'll be assessed, etc. So if you want to kind of delve into it in a little bit more detail, the website is a good starting point as well.
So just a big thank you to the speakers.